Hello, hello. Mark, you're back.
Yay,
We're back.
Yes. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
We are.
What are we talking about today, Bess?
Well, that ongoing dilemma. I've heard a rumor it might be a popular show. When you have keys to your amazing house and life changes happen.
Yes, as they do.
As they do. Mom comes to move in with you.
Right, oh my.
Or you were planning on a new little one, and the new little one is going to be twins or something.
Yes.
But you love your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, Mark, they usually come calling, right? They usually call me and you simultaneously because they're asking, should they list it? Or should they remodel it? Should they fix it? And if the answer is remodel, how the heck do you pay for that? And diapers.
I mean, yeah, and I think I venture to say most of us would not just have the cash laying around to do a remodel on a house, right?
Right.
Nothing major, right? If you really want to do something major to your house, usually my first question is, have you talked to Bess? Because the reality is, many people, what they have in mind to do with their house is actually doesn't make a lot of sense from a market perspective.
Right.
You know?
Which is a great point. If you're going to be, if you're pretty certain you're going to be moving within 5 years.
Right.
Which is often the case if you've got littles. If you've got multiple littles that are in elementary
school changes
school,
and all that.
Usually there's a school change in there. That's a totally different mindset when it comes to remodeling than if you're going to be there for another 10 or 5 or more. Let's just leave it simple. 5 or more.
And depending on your neighborhood, you may be thinking of doing too much to the house where you're not going to ever going to get your money back, right? Over improve, or even worse, under improve, where people's ideas are so small.
Right.
They're not worth spending the money. They're better off spending more money and doing it right and doing a good job with it for the resale value is what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
So my question to them is, have you talked to Bess about resale value? Have you talked to Bess about your plans before we even get into the numbers? Have you talked about what does that look like when I want to sell it? Does it make sense? Like I give you an example. One of my clients as a realtor, when I was still in the real estate world, selling, called me and said, hey, we remodeled our house. Come look at it. My first response was, why didn't you call me first?
Right.
And
me
she said,
too.
she said, oh, it's fine. You're going to be amazed. I walked in the house and she happened to be like 6'4" tall. So she made every countertop in the kitchen so high that it was like eye level for me. And I'm a little short guy, right? And I'm like, how am I going to cook in this kitchen?
Awesome.
You know? And so she had customized the house to her and her husband to the point where they could not resell it as is. They had to rip everything out to resell it.
Oh, that makes my stomach
So
turn.
years later, when they wanted to sell it, we couldn't get it sold. We literally had to remodel the house all over again. Again, talk to Bess first. But when it comes to financing, does it make sense to do a home equity line of credit where you don't touch your mortgage, right? So once you've narrowed down what you want to do, then it becomes a question, how do you want to finance it?
Okay.
You want to do a cash out refinance where you refinance the mortgage and pull equity out of the house.
All right.
Or do you do a home equity line of credit, which is a loan that sits on top of everything? That's basically just your house is collateral, and the bank gives you money.
Is that the same as a HELOC?
Yeah, a HELOC is short for a home equity line of credit.
Got it.
That's what a
dummy
HELOC
for
means.
us dummies.
Yeah. No. I mean that's we throw around terms all the time. People have no idea what they mean.
So, and from what I understand, with a HELOC, you're essentially turning your house into a credit card.
Correct, and it's a variable rate many times, which can hurt you quite a bit. It's a line of credit that meaning a line of credit means you can pull money out as much as you want or as little as you want. You have to pay it back, obviously, but it stays open, so it affects your credit because it just stays open. So it's basically. I used to use lines of credit for all kinds of things that were not even related to home ownership. For example, I would buy my cars with home equity lines of credits that I just had the lines of credit open on various homes, and I would use that to purchase cars because the interest rate was much, much lower than what I could get as a car loan, and I was basically paying myself back, right?
Nice.
So, but those days are over. Rates are much higher. HELOC
Go be
rates
Mr.
are
Positive
much
again.
higher, you know, and so sometimes the HELOCs don't make sense because of that variable interest rate, right? Another way to do it is if you're a what's called a private wealth client with an investment firm like Merrill Lynch, for example, or
Charles
somebody like
Schwab.
that. Yeah, somebody like that. Sometimes they will have a specialty program for you to use your home as a collateral and your investments as collateral, and then they give you a great rate on a loan, right?
Nice.
So there's ways to go around, you know, to take out essentially a personal loan that's not tied to your home. So if you have that 3% interest rate, you know, currently that on your mortgage that you don't want to give up through a cash out refinance, there may be other ways to do it.
Now, what about the dangers of accidentally putting yourself and your home in foreclosure risk by going that route? I mean, you hear about, I'm thinking back in the 2008, 2009, as people had pulled out that equity. They'd pulled out 100% equity.
Yeah.
But Texas does not allow you to pull out 100%
Right.
equity.
Right.
And that is to protect you, right?
There's limits to protect you. You can't pull out too much. Yeah, of course. I mean, anytime you make a move like that, it can affect you badly if you don't repay it, you know. So, you know, again, it comes down to you may qualify for something, but is it really worth doing? Does it really fit into your financial picture that you stretch yourself and now your overall debts, everything you pay every month is half your income? Does that really make sense to you? It shouldn't, really shouldn't, but people do it and they get in trouble. You're right, they get in trouble. Somebody loses their job for 3 months and now what?
Now what?
You know, the savings rate in this country isn't high enough to cover that kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
I just learned something the other day. Interesting fun fact. If you have no debt, so if you've paid off your credit cards and you have like as little as $10,000 in savings, you're like in the top 40% of U.S. citizens, households.
Sad statement right there.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Just $10,000 in savings, and you're like,
And
you make that
that's-
higher cut,
That's,
whatever
that's
that is.
literally one emergency room visit, and you've just got rid of your $10,000, right? So, you know, I mean, it's, and that's what sometimes I have to counsel people on when they purchase homes. Is this really what you want to do given your financial situation? You know, and it's just responsible lending is what I call it, instead of just saying, hey, you know, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of lending, which got us into 2008 in the first place.
Right.
You know, so we as an industry have a responsibility to make sure that people are, you know, making good, sound decisions.
Which that rolls right back to the beginning of when you do decide to get that new kitchen because you cannot stand where you're at,
Right.
to be very focused and strategic in how you spend those dollars so that you can reharvest them when you sell.
Yeah.
Because you've remodeled smart.
And that brings up, you know, I don't know about you, but I think in many cases you're better off buying a new house than remodeling for many reasons, for your sanity, for your finances. A lot of times it actually makes more sense depending on how big of a remodel you're doing, right?
Fair enough.
If you're just repainting or doing a bathroom, okay.
Right.
But if you're starting to do bathrooms and kitchen and, you know, want to add on square footage,
Yes,
you know.
But you're opening a can of worms because the other side of the coin is we all hear it all the time, and it is a truism, and that is location, location, location.
Right.
And if you happen to be, especially here in Dallas, if you happen to be within a bike ride or walk or short run of White Rock Lake, for example,
Right.
and you own that piece
Right.
of property, then
You should.
building new in the suburbs is that's a whole different lifestyle. It's a whole different everything.
I'm talking about buying in the same neighborhood, but buying a better house in the same neighborhood.
Fair enough.
You know,
Yes.
sometimes
That's
it's
that's
better
true.
because I don't know about you, but I've seen divorces over remodels and and home
absolutely.
building. So it's a very stressful process.
It's a stressful process.
So
Yes, it is. That's a whole other cocktail conversation.
Yeah, I
that
know.
we've opened up there that we've stumbled into. So speaking of stumbling into, look what I
Yes.
stumbled upon this week.
is that a live?
That's
is
lawn
that a
art.
live?
That is lawn. So obviously this home is not in an HOA because that would not
No.
be tolerated in any HOA you or I have ever
It's interesting color
been
choices
familiar
too.
with. Yes, indeed. There's overgrown bushes, all the things, but I just thought it was hilarious.
The yard art.
Knight, who doesn't want a knight in shining armor
Was there-
protecting their castle?
Was there
There he
a toilet planter in the front yard too, or
Oh, darn it. I think that was 3 doors down.
okay?
I've already profiled that before, so I didn't get into it. But those are one of my favorites. Yeah.
And
There you
then some parts of town, right? You drive through and they have the most amazing art in their front yard.
Yes.
Like, I mean, just amazingly.
It is fantastic.
You know, this is just a curiosity. This is like
And
hey, let's look at this.
I'm wondering if they, it's a part of Dallas. It's renowned for kind of being an artist hangout. So I suspect the resident probably created that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's
that's
awesome.
that's cool.
What
That's
a great way to recycle metal,
It keeps us weird, you know, and not so straight laced.
right? Not so HOA-ish.
HOA-ish. That's a whole
Don't sue me
nother
on that.
episode. We should talk about HOAs in one of these episodes.
We should.
Oh my gosh.
Especially on a day when we don't want to have a good day, I guess. I don't know. Not to be so negative. Look at us finishing on a sour note.
Ouch.
Woo!
Woo!
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks again for joining us as we're talking about, should we harvest equity to remodel? Should we just sell and start new house down the road or whatever?
Not an easy answer. You know, you got to go through again,
Again,
peel the onion and really get
It's
down
hyper
to
specific to you. You are a unique one of one person.
yes.
And it's when you have these thoughts, it's important to get good people around you to continue that conversation
Absolutely.
and to curate a plan that is best for you and your family, so you don't end up divorced or whatever else, which does happen. It's really sad.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, join us for our next
Mark
episode.
is your knight in shining armor.
Yes. And Bess too.
Doesn't fit quite right, but okay. There we go.
All right. Well, come back next time.
Mm-hmm.
Click on the next episode if you like, and we'll keep it rolling.
Love
See
it.
you next time.
Bye.